gondola in Venice. It's a luxury gondola, and then Venice, like you will see the Rialto Bridge in the background, and this is a Grand Canal. They will take us to Grand Canal and some other canal. So it's going to be super exciting, really, to board a luxury gondola. So this is like the golden, the gondola swings very much. It's and then gondolier is setting up his oar. So this is, we are just crossing the Rialto Bridge. It's a luxury.
This was the Rialto Bridge, the first bridge construction that was built in 1588.
Rialto Bridge in the first bridge in the first and the Grand Canal. You can see.
So this is a gondolier with his striped shirt and a dark colored pant and his hat, and he has a kind of a muffler kind of thing, and he draws the oar because it's very complicated. Driving a gondola is not easy because he uses the oar, of course, and the forcula. Forcula is what is
SGK gondola drivers ഭയങ്കര special job higher grade job.
So only about 400 gondoliers are selected every year, and it's not easy. And I think the first woman gondolier was recruited in the year 2010. So it is very complicated. They have to pass many exams like an like a pilot exams and so on, and because they should be able to negotiate through the channels of Venice, through the sharp channels of Venice, and then it's really. I'm in Venice, and this is called the Piazza San Marco. It has a beautiful, the building and the big square, and that's the Saint Mark's Basilica. There is a clock as well that side, and this is the most spectacular thing. This is called the Campanile, the Saint Mark's Campanile, because Saint Mark's is the patron saint of Venice. Venice is a very unique city, a beautiful romantic city called La Serenissima and so on. And it's built on about 400 bridges plus bridges and 127 islands. And this is the most striking part because this has a belfry and 4 symbols on either side, and on the top is a God of Justice, kind of Justina. And then it has a lift where one can go up. Unfortunately, it's now it's not working because they are renovating the stuff. So the bells have a complicated system, and they have a timing system. So this structure is about 112, 113 years old. It fell down in 1902 and 1902, and then they reconstructed it back in 1912. So it's spectacular. This is replicated across many areas in the world. There are many imitations and replicas of this campanile, actually, essentially a bell tower. And like in places like Macau, Las Vegas, Venetian and so on. Actually, I saw the real Venice 8.5 years after I saw Venetian. So this is really spectacular. I love this, This is a gondola near Piazza San Marco, and today the winds are very extremely high. So anyway, to see the gondola, we see this gondola has this cap. Gondolas, this is a Doge's cap, and then below it represents the Rialto. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 six combs are the 6 CS3s of the districts of Venice, Cannaregio, San Marco, San Polo, Duisodro, and Santa Croce. And the one pointing towards other side is the Giudecca. And then this is a gondola. So just get here. These pillars, these are also the significant hallmarks of Venice, and we see the gondola because there's no one there to ride. They have put the chairs in this position. They have covered it up, but otherwise, gondola. And this is counterweight. The gondolier is on the other side, and this is called the ferro. This is called the ferro, and this counterweights giving gondolier the maneuvering that he needs. and that's called the oar, and it's called enclosed in a forcola. Forcola gives different forward movements, strong forward, light forward, and sideways and other movements. So this is a gondola in a stand, and behind we see the fantastic San Giorgio Maggiore. Today is very misty and hazy, so it's really not very clear. So this is the gondola, and this is one of the most popular places that is shown in many references to Venice. These gondolas floating, and this is a very iconic site. This is again one more apparatus stop. Altra sera gomena dal piacere povertà ya sei dorma ya dormiva su sto braccio, ogni tanto ya svegliava, ogni tanto ya svegliava, ma la barca che ninava, ya tornava in dormenza.
On the left side, built 500 years ago. This one.
500 years.
500 years old. Oh man, this is like.
Gothic, still Gothic. On the right is Opera House. Maria Malina Opera House.
Malibran. Malibran.
Pavarotti.
Luciano Pavarotti. La donna immobile col piume al vento, muccia di tento e di pensiero, sempre una mobile legge a Treviso, in pianto e in riso, menzognero. La donna immobile col piume al vento, muta di cento e di pensiero, e di pensiero. La donna immobile, qual piuma al vento, muta e di pensiero.
Poi più non puoi ma spingiamo. Ragondole ghirlande, era il primo.
Su il primo grande gondolier, c'è un vecchio gondolier, canta il cor, non posso andare più via, perché Venezia mia m'hai fatto innamorare. Canta il cor, non posso andare più via, perché Venezia mia m'hai fatto innamorare.
Voleva farsi paradiso, hanno preso passato negli anni, mi dà lasciato un grido, Venezia amanti, una
Gondolier, c'è un vecchio gondolier, canta il cor, non posso andare più via, perché Venezia mia m'hai fatto innamorare. Canta il cor, non posso andare più via, perché Venezia mia m'hai fatto. Canta il cor, non posso andare più via, perché Venezia mia m'hai fatto innamorare.
che fa? Quella più bella di Venezia è
This is Venice, and we see the spectacular St. Mark's Campanile, the Doge's Palace, and the Piazza San Marco from here, and the St. Mark's and this is Santa Maria della Salute, and this is where Grand Canal is meeting the Giudica Canal. And if you go back just at the top of the Campanile, from there the bells were ringing, and this is looking at right here, it's spectacular. This is the San Giorgio Maggiore church, and that's the Giudica Island and the Redentore church. So this is Venice.
Yeah.
I'm on, this is Venice, and I'm at the center of Venice, the top of the Rialto Bridge, and there we see really the beautiful Venice. Venice is just like, instead of roads there is water, and so the boats and water are the lifeline of Venice. So it's called the city on water, or most beautiful city, romantic city, La Serenissima, and so on. And if you really look at the buildings on the sides of the water, right, these are the rich people, they used to live, and then many of them are converted to hotels, offices, universities. Everything is on water actually in Venice. From birth to death, everything is on water. Basically, you die and your body will be towed on a water boat. So if you see the facade of the buildings, right, they are like, very distinct, and facades where there is a water corner, it's called Ka. It's the name of the building starts with Ka, Odoro, or something like that. And then the real beauty is in these facades actually. The different facades of buildings, and they are built on, the timber pile foundations, and then on top of that, they have withstood for, thousands, more than 1,000 years. So these what we are seeing is not, a year or two or a few decades, but these are a part of history that are hundreds or thousands of years old. So this is like this is Venice.
Yeah, talk.
Yeah, this is Venice, and we see the Rialto Bridge. This is the, this is kind of the 5 shops kind of opening. And then Rialto Bridge, the bridges in Venice are like this. This is a common Venice bridge, but this is, we are on the Grand Canal. So in the Grand Canal, there are only 4 bridges actually. Rialto is the oldest bridge, and the most significant bridge because this was the center of activity and so on. And Venice, as we know, this is really, what is Venice, and the beautiful gondola actually. If you really see, the kind of luxury gondolas should only be black because by the local municipal government rules regulation, this golden, and this is called the ferro. Ferro is the iron counterweight, or iron, brass, or aluminum counterweight, that is counterbalancing. And if you see here, you see these are the 6 comb-like things, right? The comb, these are the 6 districts of Venice, and the one pointing towards is Giudica, where of course we are now on the hostel staying there. This is the Doge's cap, and this is the Rialto Bridge. The semicircle thing is the Rialto Bridge. This is a counterweight, ferro counterweight, and this is the beautiful Venice that we all long to see. And most beautiful. Venice is the most beautiful place on earth, I would say. It's called La Serenissima in Italian, which means the most beautiful place on earth, or the most romantic place on earth. And Venice has this film festival, this regatta, there is all this stuff. So with about 127 islands separated by more than 438 bridges, Venice is the most romantic and beautiful city. For me, I really say this is the most beautiful place on earth, because I saw actual Venice many years after I saw this. So this is the beautiful, really, the canal, the Grand Canal with the fronts of the various buildings, and it's really spectacular. I'm in front of the St. Mark's Campanile in Venice. This is the most iconic part of the Venice, right? Everybody probably recognizes it. This was built about 100 years back when it was destroyed in 1902 and 1912. And so the current structure is about 112 years old. On the top we see the belfry containing the bells. It's a complicated system of bells, and the bells rings according to some schedule. So currently it's under renovation, and this small area is called a loggia, and then from here there is a lift that goes up, and we see those windows and this thing, right? This is the most recognizable part of Venice. I had seen the actual Venice 8.5 years after I seen it in Venetian in Macau, and then in Las Vegas also there is a Venetian. So the campanile there are many replicas of these campaniles in many parts of the world, because it's the most inspiring. I love it. Yeah, it's spectacular. Yeah, I just love it. This campanile. I'm in front of the St. Mark's Campanile in Venice. This is one of the structures that I really love the most. Unfortunately, it was closed. We couldn't go up. So Venice is, the city, or the most beautiful and the romantic city, La Serenissima, and La Dominante, etc. So Venice is a total water city built on about 400 kind of bridges, and about 127 islands, and the beautiful. This is the center of the city. This is the Piazza, and that's the Piazza, San Marco Piazza. And this is the most striking of all because it's a belfry with a campanile, and then there are 4 symbols of Venice, and the justice goddess kind of. And then we see the winged lion in Venice. But my attention is on the Piazza San Marco. The most beautiful structure in Venice is actually collapsed in 1902, and then they rebuilt it in about 10 years in 1912. So current structure is about 100 years, more than 112 years old, we can say. And it's the most beautiful structure in Venice. It's really remarkable. I'm in Venice, and this is called the Piazza San Marco. It has a beautiful, the building and the big square, and that's the Saint Mark's Basilica. There is a clock as well that time. And this is the most spectacular thing, this is called the Campanile, the Saint Mark's Campanile, because Saint Mark's is the patron saint of Venice. Venice is a very unique city, a beautiful romantic city called La Serenissima and so on. And it's built on about 400 bridges plus bridges and 127 islands. And this is the most striking part because has a belfry and 4 symbols on either side, and on the top is a god of justice, kind of Justina. And then it has a lift where one can go up. Unfortunately, now it's not working because they are renovating the stuff. So the bells have a complicated system, and they have a timing system. So this structure is about 112, 113 years old. It fell down in 1902 and 1902, and then they reconstructed it back in 1912. So it's spectacular. This is replicated across many areas in the world. There are many imitations and replicas of this campanile, actually, essentially a bell tower. And in places like Macau, Las Vegas, Venetian and so on. Actually, I saw the real Venice 8.5 years after I saw Venetian. So this is really spectacular. I love this, yeah. I'm at the center of the Venice called Piazza San Marco. Piazza is a large Roman square, and this is the the Piazza San Marco. These are beautiful old buildings, and that's the the Piazza, the Saint Mark's Campanile, or Campanile in Italian. And then we see these these 3 iconic pillars. They have those golden the statues above them, and this is the Saint Mark's Basilica. The Basilica of Saint Mark's, basically. Saint Mark's is a patron saint of Venice for more than 1,000 years, and then and that's the Palazzo Ducale, or the Doge's palace. Doge is the local Duke of Venice. Duke is basically the head or the king of this kind of region. And then we see these 3 beautiful pillars with the sculpture, a lot of details, and this is a basilica in the sense. Saint Mark's Basilica, and then there is also a clock. Probably it's not working, they are repairing it or something, so it's iconic again. And then to coming to my most favorite, the Campanile. I wanted to climb, but it's under repair or something. And then coming to the Campanile, there are a few components. This is of course the 3rd pillar, and then at a bit distance we see the 2 kind of the symbol of Venice. That's the winged lion. The golden winged lion is the kind of the symbol of Venice on one pillar, and then Saint Theodore, who is killing with the trident, and he's killing the crocodile and that kind of a dragon, and that's one thing. And then coming to this is called the Logetta. This Logetta is the entrance to this great Campanile. I love this Campanile, but unfortunately it's closed. And then this is the Doge's palace in good detail. The entry to the Doge's palace, the porch, and so on, and the Saint Mark's Basilica. And then this is Logetta. It's very nostalgic just to be touching this Logetta. And this is actually when it's full functioning, we get through the steps like this, and then we go through, and then there is a lift, and then probably there are steps as well. The Logetta itself is very beautiful, though it's small. And then coming to the Campanile, my most favorite in Venice. Is we climb the lifts, and then there are bells, and there are a series of times when the bells chime. There's a lot of engineering behind them, and then very nostalgic to be just touching my most favorite Campanile. So this is Venice again, and we are in front of the iconic Saint Mark's Campanile. This was built in the 15th century, and then it broke down in 1902, and then it was restored in 1912, because in Venice they have a principle that everything that should be like if it is destroyed, or then they must restore it to just like that, so no changes. Like La Fenice Theatre Opera House was restored after fire a few times, and then the campanile. Campanile is typically a bell tower, and bells are there. It's a very complicated system of bells, that rings. And this is iconic. I mean, I love this structure. There are many imitations of Venice around the world, but there is only one Venice on the planet. Like like in Macau and in Las Vegas, USA, and in Macau, China, they have built the Venetian with with the campanile and the gondola boats and all the bring Doge's palace. We see the St. Mark's Basilica in the background, and then the clock, St. Mark's kind of a clock, and this whole is called the St. Mark's Piazza San Marco, or the St. Mark's Piazza Square. It's a fantastic square. Of course, some part of it is undergoing some renovations, and particularly when you look towards the top from a drone view, you find these markings. These are probably for restaurant sitting or something. From the drone, you can find out these markings, and this is the St. Mark's Basilica, and that's the Doge's Palace. Yeah, we just moved towards the Doge's Palace and the this is the campanile. So I love this campanile. This is the most iconic the Venice campanile. This is the Bridge of Sighs, and this is actually called the Doge's Palace, or the Duke's Palace. Doge is Duke in Italian. And then when the prisoners were they were after the trial, they were awarded the sentence, so they will pass through this bridge, and they will look up to the through those windows, through those holes, and then probably, because that's probably the last time that they will be seeing onto the world or the whole, so they will sigh, and that's why it's called a Bridge of Sighs. And you see this Venice with the beautiful gondolas and everything. And here is the incarnation of the jail cell, because we see the strong iron railings and pillars. So this is called a Bridge of Sighs. Qualche maniera Hello.
How are you?
Fine.
You come now?
Yeah.